Welcome into a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from the UDL. Brought to you every single day by Go Chevrolet. Looking forward to closing out the week here as we'll talk to Austin Thomas, General Manager of LSU Football. We'll stop by here at 7:30. Barstool Mintz. Ben Mintz will be here at the...
Surround sound. Let's go. That's how you do it. What are you, drunk?
Still, sea drunk.
Yeah. That seaside high.
Yes, indeed. Ben Mintz will be here at the end of hour one. We'll talk to Mintzy. Mintzy's got to get in before 9 o'clock Eastern time because he's meeting with a trainer this morning. 9 to 10 a.m. Getting that fall body ready.
Graduated from the treadmill. That's the next logical step, dude. Now you start toning up. I love
it. Peter Couhig will be here, one of our favorites, talking a little soccer at 8:30 this morning. The Baton Rouge native who is, golly, I don't have the right credentials on Peter. What's the name of his team and everything?
Because we totally blew it last time.
The Wycombe Wanderers.
Yeah, the Wycombe
Nice.
Wanderers.
Wycombe. Weren't we saying it
Yeah,
wrong?
we said
Wycombe.
Wycombe. We were saying
It was
Wycombe.
Wycombe.
Wycombe forever.
Very American of us. All of that coming up this morning on the Jordy Culotta Show. Looking forward to that. Shout out to A-Bears Lawn Service, who is making their stop here at the UDL, the official grass cutter and lawn maintenance of the Jordy Culotta Show. Let them help you out this morning. Nevada, speaking of websites, our website is under construction and should be launched over the next 24 hours. We are looking forward to this from Nevada's. Our good friend Randall Knockman over there has been doing great work for us behind the scenes, getting this thing ready to go, and we should launch this thing over the next 24 hours, hopefully today. And we will be up live, and we will be pushing a lot of our listeners there because hopefully we can consolidate all of what's going on, all of the chats that are happening on YouTube, Facebook, all over the place. Put that in one spot. All of that's going to be happening over at jordyculottashow.com. So be looking out for that. Shout out to our friends over there at Nevada's. They can help you out. Get in touch with them. NBA draft last night. Spent the day on the water yesterday in South Louisiana, which was fantastic. It was great to wake up with the sunrise over Gulf of Mexico.
Big fish.
Big fish, buddy.
Big fish.
Big fish, buddy. That is the way to go. Charters went to a good buddy of mine, Lance Walker.
No, he's my neighbor.
Really?
Yeah, he lives like 5 houses down.
The L-Dog?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know his wife.
Your block is hot, man.
Didn't know you rolled like
Damn.
He's always got a huge ass boat out there in the driveway. Always out there.
Always. The fish commander.
Yes.
That's the name of his charter service. And man, took me, Little Jay, 2 of his buddies, Kelly, out yesterday for the day. Went and laid on the Fouchon Beach.
There's
none finer.
I mean, we attracted a crowd. You could see people were like, okay, all right. Kind of like coming in, anchoring up, and we were just laid up, man. Had a great day. We caught speckled trout. You saw the fish. I don't know. I put it up on social media, but Kelly bagged like a 25-pound redfish.
Jesus.
It was huge.
Yeah, that was big. I saw that on her social.
A lot of catfish. And then we also caught some rare fish that like people were freaking out. Even the captain was like freaking out over it. I was like, okay, no. The L put us on one of his youngsters, a young Evan. I forget his last name, maybe Hartzell. 22-year-old New Orleans, living the life, bro.
Just living it.
Just works the summer, gets enough money in the summertime to.
But it's not even work for him. If that's
Pompano. Anything about Pompano?
Yeah, I mean, I've had it before.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all I know.
We caught one.
Cool.
Yeah, where's Chef Jean Paul?
Yeah. Right?
But it was a great time, man. It really was. It was a beautiful. It was a beautiful day in South Louisiana. It was great to be out on the water, and the kids loved it. I mean, it was a great experience for everybody there. So thank you to the fish commander, the L-Dog, Lance Walker and his crew. For yesterday.
We held it down while you were gone.
I know y'all did. Yeah, I mean, y'all are. I have no concern. I really don't. I mean, I have no.
I don't know. You should
I
have
have no
a little.
concern. No, I really don't. I mean, I have none.
How many noises are coming from you over there?
A lot.
Phone
I'm just trying to adjust to being back here. All right? Leave me alone.
Very obvious you took the day off.
Yes.
He comes in this morning and he goes, well, what did y'all talk about? No concern. I love it.
Yeah.
Didn't know if he did the show or not.
Right? What if we didn't? We're just BSing
Which is fine.
Yeah,
which is fine at this point.
Well, yeah, we did. It was great. We went 3 hours. We had guests.
But I imagine that you gave your reaction to the Rotary as Katie and I were in the room, which was filled with Baton Rouge business, both men and women from around our community, and Ed Orgeron was there. A little small portion of the vintage band from Tigerland.
Yeah.
As they had some of the old schoolers in there getting the crowd ready to go.
That was cute.
Orgeron gave a couple of remarks on his team. Before we get into that, shout out to Majestic Coffee for daily giving us our coffee down here over at the UDL. It's obviously locally brewed down here in South Louisiana. If you want to find out and get your own, check out DeliciousSips.com. True Blue Water gives us our water every day, and that is online at TRUBluewater.com. TRUBluewater.com.
We're about out of these Go H2Os.
Yeah, I brought a lot of them to the coast.
Oh, yeah? They're awesome.
Yesterday.
Y'all need to get these.
They were fantastic.
Are you supposed to swim in that water? I saw you got in there.
Not a lot of pushback from the captain.
Okay.
You know?
Just the golf, right?
Right. I was more concerned that I took one of these spikes from a catfish, which he said was poisonous.
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah, into the hand, and my hand is like swollen.
You got poisoned?
I do feel it in my wrist.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? Can we do something with that blind? Because
tried.
the
I don't know
glare.
if it's
Look,
coming from that one or-
drop it.
Yeah, I think drop it all the way down.
NBA draft last night. Shout out to Majestic Coffee. Shout out to True Blue Water. And Austin Thomas coming up here. All of our guests are brought to you by Metropolitan Health South, Metropolitan Health Group on the phone lines. A lot going on here.
A lot of weed eating happening right now.
around the UDL right now. Yeah, right. But the Rotary with Ed Orgeron.
The Rotary.
We will talk to Austin Thomas. They'll have a junior day coming up here this weekend before they get to camp on August 5th. So this will be their last weekend off for LSU football as far as the team goes. But there will be a ton of effort around recruiting. As we said about the Rotary Club, it's tough to screw that room up. It's tough to have anything bad come out of there. And in typical fashion, and just like it does every year, I thought it went, probably as to be expected. A lot of rah-rah stuff, a lot of feedback from the crowd, kind of going back and forth with Orgeron. But in typical O fashion, I mean,
stepped in it.
A public relations cleanup that has to take place. And we talked about this earlier this week on this name, image, and likeness stuff, on how it's going to start being recruited. And you've seen some of the top recruiters in the sport start to move their techniques and tactics to starting to include name, image, and likeness into the public. Most notably, Nick Saban met with the Texas High School Coaches Association, which is a hell of a room to speak to if you're the Alabama head football coach, to walk into one of the most powerful recruiting states that football can offer and go and address the room for an hour with a Q&A that goes back and forth. And Saban really had a lot of quotes that came out of that room in that day. This is the day before he goes to Hoover and addresses the SEC media. But the quote that lives on from Saban's address to the Texas High School Coaches Association is that Bryce Young, his quarterback, who has yet to take a snap, a meaningful snap, on the Division I level, has got $1 million on the table in NIL deals. And we said then, and I believe now, that was a direct shot at Steve Sarkisian, Texas, and their recruitment of Arch Manning. Because Texas is recruiting Arch on a lot of the name, image, and likeness stuff, and the size of Texas's brand, and the money behind Texas's boosters and alumni. and where name, image, and likeness will be in 2 seasons when Arch touches down on a college campus, and the potential of money that he can make under these new rules. And Alabama's coach goes in and really just throws a knockout punch to Texas on their home soil, in their backyard, in front of all of their high school coaches. And Saban leaves the state beating his chest and shows up at Hoover, and he gets the godlike treatment that he always does every year. And LSU's response, the first time that Ed Orgeron is asked in front of his home crowd a question that he's had time to be prepped on, that you have to imagine if you open up the public to Q&A, somebody's going to ask you about name, image, and likeness. And if you do it in your backyard in a room that's filled of your boosters and your hometown and your state money, somebody's probably going to ask you how we can get involved. And Ed Orgeron replies, nearly a month after NIL is legal, to call Derek Panamsky. I mean, you could see the room like looking around like, is he kidding? And in Orgeron's quote, he says, no, I'm not joking.
I'm serious.
I'm serious. Mm-hmm. Call Panamsky. That's what LSU's retort is to some of the heavyweights in college football now recruiting to name, image, and likeness. This is the stuff that I'm talking about when I said a couple of weeks back, and still catching flack for, on that the executives with LSU Athletics Administration roll their eyes at Ed Orgeron and his public relations. They shake their head, roll their eyes, take deep breaths, and wonder, how does this guy continue just to step in it every time he opens his mouth? Nobody in the recruiting department wanted people to know that LSU was hosting a junior day this weekend. Orgeron goes on radio Tuesday morning and announces they're having a junior day this weekend. People in the recruiting offices are scrambling. Nobody wants to hear an illegal activity. You can't even do that. You can't pick up the phone if you're a business owner, call Derek Panamsky and ask him how you can get involved for name, image, and likeness. So when Austin Thomas comes here in about 15 minutes, I'm sure we'll have to ask him a question to give him a chance to probably clean up some of the mess.
Awkward.
Because your coach continues to be a PR disaster. For as much as I dump on Les Miles and his public relations, and they were the worst, Orgeron is different in a different stance, in a different section of PR. I mean, Miles was just dumb. He was just stupid. I mean, he couldn't help himself. He couldn't complete a sentence. I mean, he couldn't pronounce a state. Orgeron just almost walks into PR traps despite you.
Was that the first question that was asked? I can't remember.
If it wasn't the first, it was the second.
Yeah, the guy was really hard to hear, or the person who asked the question. So it was like all of a sudden then he started answering and everybody was like, what?
I mean, you could see the room is filled with business people, both bright, gifted women and men who are sitting there who make decisions, daily. And they're looking around at this guy, looking around the room like, is he serious? And all that, that deep breath into the, glaring out into the crowd, staring at you like do you want to fight or do you want to answer me? I don't, what's the mood you're trying to paint here? I know you're a tough guy. We get it. You set your jaw before every game or whatever that stuff is. But you're in a room full of your boosters in front of your money people. This is the message when Saban 3 weeks ago sitting in front of maybe the most powerful room in high school recruiting telling the coaches that his quarterback's already got $1 million on the table without taking a snap, and yours is to call Derek Panamsky? What does Panamsky even do? I mean, if you look him up in the media guide, it's special assistant to the head coach. Does he pick up his laundry? Or does he negotiate 7-figure deals for the team in name, image, and likeness?
Just got a real promotion.
I mean, like, what? A lot of space there. A lot of real estate to cover there. I mean, Derek was in the room, in the back of the room,
the finger
staring
sandwiches.
into his phone, just scrolling through Twitter, and you could see his head like, huh? Me? Don't call me. I can't do that. I mean, in his own, we were in the stadium. We were in the South Stadium expansion. We were on LSU's campus. And he can't answer a name, image, and likeness. That's his answer to the name, image, and likeness question, to call Derek Panamsky. And I'm serious. Call him.
We should call him.
Amazing. Really, I feel like we should put his phone number out there.
Oh, gosh.
Don't dox him, but I'm saying we should call him, saying we have a deal in place, and just see how far that negotiation gets. I got a deal for so and so, and let's just see what their. I should see how they handle it. I'd be interested to see what their business plan is, because I think it's almost a bigger faux pas for LSU to not have. Shouldn't you have a better answer than that, like a canned answer?
Yes.
And it seems like they didn't. It seems like
absolutely
Ed can handle
you should
it.
be coached up, and that's what that's what I thought Panamsky's job was to start off with, was to manage his public relations. I thought that's what he was brought in to do. I mean,
maybe Derek thinks he's ready. Maybe he's like, dude, tell him to call me. And then meeting adjourned.
Yeah, but that's illegal. So that can't be done.
Well,
that's not the way it's supposed to go down. That's not
Derek
how you do it.
tiptoes in those waters every now and again.
But it's just, it's laughable. It gives you an idea of what we were talking about earlier this week, where not only is the school with the most millionaires going to start being most relevant, but the teams with the plan and the clear-cut plan to get there is going to have, they're going to have the advantage. And when you know that every time Saban's opening his mouth, it's calculated, right? I mean, every time he has a message for anybody, and Saban is notorious for having people planted at press conferences to ask him questions to spur an answer, which I think is very smart public relations. I mean, you control the message. Don't let the message control you. Right? I mean, you're the ownership of the message. You own the message. I'm going to dictate the temperature of the room. I'm going to control the story. Go on any college football blog right now, LSU's front page news, because Orgeron's telling me to call his special assistant about NIL stuff. Footballscoop.com, ESPN, Yahoo Sports, CBS Sportsline, Sports Illustrated, Dellinger. All of them are pointing and laughing at LSU. Really. I mean, they're not openly doing it, but just read the stories. Yeah, they give examples from everybody who seems to have a plan and has an answer in place, and then they quote Orgeron, glaring into the crowd, snorting and grunting into the mic, and telling you to call his special assistant for name, image, and likeness. If you don't think that LSU is behind in recruiting on this front, what other example do you need? Nick Saban is telling the Texas High School Coaches Association that his quarterback's got $1 million on the table in deals done. Orgeron's telling a room full of his boosters to call his special assistant. You're taking a butter knife to a gunfight with that message.
Don't you think it's such a missed opportunity, too? Because, as you said, it was referenced on major websites, major publications, and it was a chance to have a quote out there to have a really, impactful message to how strong LSU is, like the branding and everything that could go into coming to LSU. And instead it was like a one-off answer, like, I don't really know how to handle it. He might. And when you could compare that to what Alabama did, saying we got $1 million coming in. Then you have Ohio State.
If you don't think that LSU has a plan behind the scenes with all of the money and resources that they've put forth in this name, image, and likeness stuff, I mean, you're crazy. I mean, look at Times Square, look at the marketing on all of that stuff up to this point. There has to be some type of answer, some type of PR coaching on the back end that says, hey, look, when we're asked about this in public, here's our stance. If somebody asks you on the street, how do I get involved? How do I help? Here's your protocol. Here's what you do. Here's your canned answer on what you tell them.
Right. Why would you not just say we had Derek Stingley Jr. making so and so much money, and this is the first year, and we didn't really have a plan. Like, for the first time of NIL, we already have 6 figures coming into one of our best athletes. That's the easiest answer you can give, as opposed to, I don't know, call somebody else. It just seemed like it was a chance to win the press conference and like get a great quote out there to expose what LSU's brand is, and it turned out to be like kind of a dud.
Brian Trudeau, LOL, Jordy introduced O as the best coach in college football on radio every time before this season, was always laughable at how quickly things have changed. Have you not seen?
I'm sorry, there's a huge roach under your chair, Lloyd. I mean, I have to just say it. It's huge.
2020? It's under you.
It's humongous.
Good.
It's like standing on its hind legs and stuff, if that's a thing.
It's a 5-star.
It's got Mert, coach.
I saw it coming, and I was like, that's going to crawl up your leg.
Oh, my God. Got him. Sniped him.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Couldn't hold that back anymore. I've been watching it make its way across the room.
But Brian, I mean, in this business, you have to adapt. You can't stand on the same opinions and thoughts that you've had from 2 years ago, over a year ago. I mean, look at the program. Look at what's happened. Look at the PR. I mean, I have to call it like I see it, right?
You do.
I mean, that's what this job calls for. I mean, you got to call it like it is. I mean, and in my opinion, it's been a total 180 to what we were talking about in 2019. Everything. And they've got a really good team this year, and a lot of that stuff can be cleaned up, and a lot of these conversations can change tone again. But in the state that they sit right now, the last thing you saw from them was 2020, a 5-5 campaign where at times there were temper tantrums on the sideline and a lot of disorganization in the background. Admittance of bringing in guys that you didn't even interview. To now going into the season where name, image, and likeness is obviously a big thing in college football, and you're ill prepared for it. You're not prepared for it. It doesn't look like it. Your answers in the public don't seem to say that. I mean, if you're telling people to call your special assistant, that's not the move. You know, I mean, the move seems to be the head coach out in public saying, we're prepared for it. Our quarterback hadn't even taken a snap, and he's got $1 million in deals already on the table. Even if that's not true, say it in public. Who's really done the... I haven't seen one report that's come out to see anybody do any type of journalism or any type of dive in to see if Bryce Young even does have that amount of deal. I mean, Saban could have just been up there and just totally lied to everybody. I mean, who knows? I mean, why did Orgeron say, yeah, well, I mean,
prove it.
Max and Miles have about $500,000 between them. I mean, how would we know? I thought it was embarrassing. I thought it was another public relations disaster. You know, I mean, they will have to clean that up. They will have to, at some point, somebody's going to come out and say, well, no, you can't call Derek. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the strategy.
Well, I was waiting for the quarterback question. There's some part of me had a little hope that, like, this was going to be the day. He was going to tell us who it was.
He almost could have to bury this story.
Ready. I was just sitting, like, holding it, like, waiting for that to come on.
But he's doing what we thought he would do. He's going to wait until the week of, which is what we were a little, I don't want to say afraid of, but we thought he might declare a starter beforehand to kind of get the team. Because as everybody knows, when you go into a team environment and they don't know who the quarterback is, it's indecisive every day. They don't know who to get behind.
Yeah.
So you'd almost want to announce your starter earlier than that. But the team's so concerned about having both. So he's just going to play this fiddle until the song runs out, and he hopes that he's going to solo until you go into UCLA.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about this coming up before we get out of here at 9 a.m. And give more thoughts on the road. Next, I want to get to Austin Thomas and get Thomas's thoughts on going into the season, some of the storylines. Junior Day, recruiting weekend, a big one for LSU, some of the success that they've had on the trail, some of the competition that he's watching at specific positions. Everybody's going to ask and be curious about the quarterback, but what other position groups are seeing some high major competition? I thought it was interesting that Major Burns was the first safety that Ed Orgeron talked about, or having the most likely chance to start on that defensive backfield. So we'll talk to Thomas about Major Burns and kind of where he's settling in competition here. Daily, we're brought to you by Johnsaw and Spillers. They are our dentist over here at the UDL and on the Jordy Culotta Show. They've got 2 locations, one in Baton Rouge, one in Gonzales out on Prepara Avenue. Anything from a dentist needs that you may need. I've had a tooth extracted. I'm getting a tooth replaced by Johnsaw and Spillers, but they can do all of the typical work, the cleaning that you may need, anything from cavity work. And Kelly went over there the other day and got some Botox from them. So, I mean, they can do it all over at Johnsaw and Spillers. 2 locations, Gonzales and in Baton Rouge. Online, johnsawspillers.com. When we come back, we will talk to Austin Thomas here, the general manager of LSU football. We'll get set up here for the last off weekend for the Tigers. From here on out, we will be talking about LSU on the field and preparing for UCLA after our discussion with Austin Thomas. So come back with us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Daily brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember, every day online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Find them at Go Express Auto Sales. If you're looking for a used car out there on Florida Boulevard in Sherwood Forest for brand new models, stop in and check them out in Laplace, Louisiana. Last off weekend, I say off weekend, the team won't be in town getting ready for the fall as they've gone through summer workouts and now here with their last week off before they report on August 5th. As far as the coaching staff goes for LSU football, another huge one for recruiting. Junior Day coming up this weekend, and we've talked about this junior class in Louisiana and in around high school recruiting as one of the all-time best when you just think about the state in general and what they offer here. And LSU will have an opportunity to talk to a lot of those guys face-to-face for the last time coming up this weekend. Austin Thomas, who is the general manager for LSU, who is back here heading into another season, but this one on this go-around, season number 1 with a lot of all-season now under his belt going into fall camp, joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Always good to catch up with you, Austin. Good morning. How are you, man?
Hey, Jordy, I'm doing great. How are you? As you said, busy weekend for us, but really, really excited to get going again.
Yeah, absolutely. Where is the mindset heading into a final recruiting weekend, a final off weekend without the team, and heading into fall camp? How do you guys juggle this from a staff standpoint?
You know what? We're in a great place. As you know, July is pretty low key for us as a staff. It's our time to get away, kind of recharge the batteries, spend some time with our family before we go into this grind that is football season that we all are ready to accept and, challenge ourselves to be the best that we can be. So we've had a little downtime. Everybody came back on Wednesday morning, and it just feels like everybody's ready to go. So we're really excited for this weekend, really excited to host a great group of prospects, as you said in the opening there, here in Louisiana. Spend time with some families, spend time with our families at this event. It's really going to be low-key, laid-back, fellowship style, just learning about each other. And as you said, it gives us a chance to get in front of these prospects and their families and continue to develop those bonds and relationships as we head into a recruiting dead period in August, starting August 1, and then we turn our attention to fall camp and our football team.
Austin, I know we've talked about this in some of your stops here and when you've talked about recruiting, but as the calendar has moved on and you've had an opportunity to get to know these guys more and learn about their families and learn about some of the decision makers in the process, how special is this junior class? I know you can't speak about them individually, but just when you look at it as a whole, this group going into the cycle.
As we've talked about before, Jordy, it is truly a special group. It's as deep as I've ever seen. I think this is 10 classes, 9 or 10 classes that I've seen in the state of Louisiana now during my time over, being at LSU and some other places. But it's special. This group from top to bottom. I mean, it is deep. It's talented. It's balanced across positions, and so. This has always been a state with a lot of skill guys, and at times you've had to go find big guys. But it's really, really exciting to see such a strong group in state this year, and I feel like we've positioned ourselves well with a lot of them. So the nucleus of our recruiting class is going to come from the state of Louisiana.
LSU General Manager Austin Thomas joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. How's the summer going? What's been the recap on the summer?
It's been great. We've had a great summer. I think we talked in June, just talking about all the prospects that we had on campus. It was great to have some things opened up, have the ability to have camp and have people here show off our building, which hasn't been able to be done, since 2019. So it was kind of crazy coming out of the national championship that was won here. Kind of things went on lockdown. And so we weren't able to show this facility, weren't able to use our greatest strength, which I say all the time is our people, and have us get face-to-face with, prospects and families and coaches and things of that nature. So really great summer. It was exciting to see people. As far as the team goes, overwhelmingly positive. The guys did a great job, really, really strong academically. They had football school. And then, I'm really proud of this football team, just to kind of transition a little bit, Jordy, into that summer piece. These guys are hungry. They've done a great job of doing things on their own. Every time you come into this facility, there's guys working out, there's guys throwing balls, there's guys getting extra work in, and that's fun to see. The best teams I've been around, and I think most coaches and people that have played, competitive sport and been on a team, the best ones are player-driven, right? That culture is player-driven. As a coach and a staff, you can do whatever, you want. But I think a lot of that comes from within those guys and the leadership of your team. And I feel really, really strongly about that group and where we are. So we're really excited.
Also, one of the big moves in the off season was new offensive line coach Brad Davis coming aboard to staff. How have you seen him made an impact in just the short time that he's been in Baton Rouge?
Oh, man, could not have asked for a better hire, could not have asked for a better human being. Brad has been such a blessing to us here in his first couple of months. I mean, just who he is as a person. I think he's humble, he's knowledgeable, and he relates to people so well. It's just been a blessing to have him. I cannot speak highly enough of him. Just his ability to connect with people, his ability to motivate his players, and I think that they feel that he genuinely cares about them. And when you talk to Coach Davis, he has so much humility and he has vast knowledge of the game and the run game. But his knowledge is shown in a way that is positive, and it's one of those things that it's a very, very uplifting spirit, uplifting, positive person. And again, just from a relatability standpoint, his players and recruits, I think he's got it all, and we're really, really excited that he's here with us. He's going to help us tremendously. We
were down in Hoover for Coach O addressing the media down there at SEC Media Days. We were at the Rotary Club earlier this week, and everybody wants to know about the quarterback and the competition there. Is there any other groups that you look at going into fall camp that you're watching with competition?
Yeah, I think, always there's a couple groups that you have identified. I mean, I think, the linebacker position for us, we've got some guys there now that they're talented players, and just watching them develop and grow, I think it's going to be fun in fall camp. But overall, Jordy, I mean, you can say that about a couple positions, and I think it's a common theme across the board here is that, we have, whether it's wide receivers, whether it's the defensive line, whether it's linebackers, we have a group of experienced players that give us a lot of confidence, but man, we've got some really talented young guys sitting in there with them. And so trying to watch those rooms grow and see where those young guys take these older guys and how those older guys lead the younger guys, but how this talent continues to infuse itself into this roster and going into fall camp and the time that we have to focus on us, what those guys are going to do at each position group. I'm really excited about it. So we're looking forward to it.
Austin Thomas joining us here on the Jordy Culotta show. One of the guys, Coach, that we've talked to a couple of these high end recruits that are coming in 22. A lot of them decided that they're going to LSU, and one of the names that continuously pops up is Mason Smith, and not the 5-star defensive tackle that you guys have at a Terrebonne that's obviously going to make an impact on the defensive line this season. But Mason Smith in the recruiting department behind the scenes. I know this thing is a huge wheel that takes a lot of people every single day to keep it turning, but Smith's name keeps coming up in recruiting. What's he mean to the program?
Oh man, Mason has been phenomenal for us. I mean, he's just he knows so many people. He's so connected, and Mason has a unique ability to talk to people and connect to people and make them feel like they're the most important person in the world. And so he's been phenomenal for us. I mean, he grinds his tail off. He works so hard. He is constantly on the phone. He is constantly developing relationships. Just could not speak more highly of him and the job he's done and the energy that he brings to us. Right. And so he's an Energizer bunny. He never slows down, and just, again, a lot like Coach Davis, I said about him. Mason's the same way. I think that we're blessed to have him here. Blessed that he's on our staff, and I think that he's going to continue to do positive things for us and impact our ability to recruit at the highest level.
We've heard a lot of discussion on name, image, and likeness stuff, and it came up earlier this week at the Rotary Club with name, image, and likeness, and LSU has been out in front of this stuff with the NILSU initiative. How have you seen this now that it's kind of been legal for a month around college sports and around college football? How have you seen it affect LSU, and how have you gotten the feedback, the return on it?
Yeah, I think, as you said, Jordy, I'm so proud of this university and just being a leader in the ability to handle this new opportunity for our student athletes and promote their personal brands. And, whether that's Stephanie Remp or Verge or Cody Warsham or Emily Dixon, Michael Bonnet, I mean, that entire team, they were so prepared with that NILSU stuff and putting all that out and being the leader and at the forefront of this entire thing. I'm so impressed with the job that they've done. But, it really has not had a huge impact on us. I mean, you have some guys that are doing some things and, getting some endorsements, which is great. I think, as Coach said, we're for that. We're for our players. And and whatever they can get. I think the best thing that they can do, and we keep going back to, is to perform on the field, right? And I think, when you have success, that's how you promote your personal brand. And so that's what brings these opportunities to you. And our guys have done a great job of, going through this process, right? And so it's important to understand, and for everybody to understand, that our staff and nobody that's employed at LSU can set up these deals directly or indirectly, right? I think our guys have to be approached, and then they go through a vetting process with compliance and the LSU system and get approval to do the things that they do. But it's been a good process. I think we're all still trying to learn a little bit about it as we go, but some guys are definitely benefiting from it, and we view that as a positive thing for us, because the more they can get, the better.
Obviously, you guys will have a very eventful and busy weekend with recruiting, but how do you spend these last couple of days, these last few moments with family and friends before camp starts?
You know what? I think most of that's over. I think we all knew when we got up Wednesday morning that time's done. We will have Sunday to kind of catch our breath again here, and then when we roll into Monday morning, it's go time. It's time to turn our attention to football. It's time to get going and make sure that we're focusing on us and doing the little things that we need to do over the next 2.5 weeks to put ourselves in position to have a successful season, because that trust, that unity, that commitment to each other through adversity and challenges that camp brings is right around the corner. And so that foundation, the things that we're laying right now, the message that Coach O is sending our team is going to carry us through this season. So we're looking forward to it.
Have a great camp, Coach. Thank you for a couple of minutes here on going into what I know is a very busy weekend in recruiting and getting prepared for a training camp. You guys anticipate everything going off as normal? I know that there's nothing around politics and nothing around policy with football. You guys just show up and go where you're supposed to play. But have you heard anything on what potentially could be coming in season or for school?
I think, right now we're still on track. It's just such an important message for everybody to, get vaccinated and let's knock this thing out, man, and just keep moving forward so that we can have some normalcy to football season. And so just looking forward to pressing on and making sure that we're doing our part to be one team, one heartbeat, have us all in this thing together as human beings, and make sure that we can tackle this thing and eradicate it and get us some sport.
Thank you, Austin. Have a great weekend, man. We'll talk again soon.
You too, Jordy. I appreciate all you do. Talk to you later.
Yes, sir. There he is, Austin Thomas, LSU General Manager, checking in from LSU football this morning. That conversation brought to you by RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois and his crew over at RMB Builders. RMB-Builders.com is where you can find them online. If you're looking for Rhett and his crew, they can help you out with anything, whether it's commercial construction, if you need reconstruction, if you need a total rehaul, if you just need some handiwork done around the house, let Rhett and his crew get in touch with you or get in touch with them today on how they can help you. RMB-Builders.com. RMB-Builders.com is where you can find Rhett and his crew to get in touch with you today. RMB-Builders.com. When we come back, we'll talk to Barstool Mintzy, Ben Mintz from Barstool, as we get set for a weekend. We'll ask him about a couple of future bets here with the SEC around the NFL as we head into a lot of training camps are underway, including the Saints. So a lot to get to before we get out of here at 9 a.m. on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live here on the UDL on this Friday morning, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Lots of comments inside of the bunker. A lot of active people in there.
Y'all mad.
Good morning.
Yeah, mad up in there.
Friday.
Mad. But we're glad y'all are talking. Hit some more thumbs up, so we haven't got a thumb downs yet. So
Jimmy James, Jordy, you kid
Exciting.
glove the F out of that interview. Oh, Jimmy. Got to know the game, man.
It's a long game.
Nobody's pounding on Orgeron on the field. Everybody thinks I'm hating on his coaching style. Not saying he's a bad coach, but his PR mishaps have been one after the other over the last 16 months. We can go back and timeline it, but continuously stepping into it as he has is concerning. I mean, at the very least. I mean, to see a top recruiter in the country and Nick Saban and the way his messaging, NIL, to see the way that LSU's head coach is doing it. I mean, you've got to see the contrasts. That's all I'm pointing out. I know that, who is this on Twitter? My guy at A Sports. What is that? What does that stand for?
AYS Sports.
Yes, okay. Are you serious?
You're not very good at those things. We got you twice on the, what was the Swerve Inc.?
yeah, those are fun.
That's all right, but we'll get you there. We'll get you caught up.
It's fun to do that.
I see he's mad and is going back and dating me on my relationship with O. But look, man, it's in this business, you got to call it like you see it. O's a great football coach. Brought LSU to the mountaintop. He's recruiting it at a very high level. Got potential to maybe get the #1 recruiting class in the country. And he's got an opportunity on the field to really change some of the storyline that's kind of rumbling underneath him. And he can do it with a very successful football season coming up. But the public relations needs help. I mean, is that debatable? Really and truly, do you really want to debate whether or not the public relations around LSU football and the head coach have been good? I mean, they've been just misstep after misstep. And for a name, image, and likeness topic that's been legal now for a month, and to see the way other schools are handling it, and to see the way that it was answered in a room full of LSU supporters, I thought was very concerning. I think LSU does too, in talking to some of the people in and around LSU. Let's get up to New York City and talk to Ben Mintz. Active week for Mintzy, as I saw Match Point Connection was up in New York earlier this week. Had a chance to meet Mackenzie Landry, who is behind Match Point Connection with Henry Hayes and a couple of others down here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Moving and shaking up there in the Northeast, Mintzy. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, trying to do the thing. It was great to see Mac up here. Yeah, man, it's just fascinating to follow all the NIL stuff, because it's a totally different world. I mean, you literally look at everything we knew about college football and college sports, and in a month, it's basically been changed with the NIL and now the SEC expansion, and then possibly the 12-team playoffs coming. And I love it. I got to say, I'm happy for the players. It's ridiculous that, when you look at the SEC, that contract's over $300 million with the SEC and the schools. I'm happy the players are finally able to get a piece of the pie. I think it's great. And I'm fascinated by what Match Point and a lot of these other new companies are doing because it's just such a Wild West thing. I mean, we're entering a totally new world.
Absolutely. Speaking of new worlds, name, image, and likeness, transfer portal, and Barstool's getting into the bowl game sector as they have sponsored the Arizona Bowl, which Barstool Sports will now be the title sponsor of that bowl. A little bit about that move.
Well, it's exciting. Well, first of all, I never thought, all the random places I've been for New Year's, Tucson, Arizona is going to be something. Certainly don't hate getting away from New York this time of year for that. But I think it's just fascinating because I think, I don't know if anybody's ever watched the Rough and Rowdy's Barstool boxing stuff we do, where you've got Dave Portnoy and Big Cat commentating and Big Cat singing the national anthem and, just putting the Barstool flair, kind of doing a sports broadcast just unlike any other. And to me, that's just fascinating because if this goes well, who knows where this could lead. But Barstool just does it in a way I've never seen. And I'm excited to be a part of it. I mean, I don't know what my role will be or anything, but Dave said the entire company's going out there. There's talk of a Barstool Classic or possibly even a Rough and Rowdy out in Arizona that week. And it's going to be a huge thing. And I jokingly, but not jokingly said, New Year's Eve this year, the 3 biggest bowl games. You got the Barstool Cotton and Orange. You got the 2 playoff games. So, there you go. Triple header.
Mintzy, any futures you're looking at right now as far as NFL and college football goes? I know a lot of things are starting to shape up with training camps and colleges starting to report for fall camp. Anything or any team that you're looking at as far as a future bet goes?
Well, we've been doing like a win total Wednesday thing. And I went under on both Florida and Auburn. Probably in bad news for, I don't know. I don't know about the Brian Hartine hire. I know he won at Boise, but I don't think they got any better. And he's supposed to be like a super good quarterback developer. And I know Rippon was good there, but overall I wasn't too overwhelmed by that. And they've got a tough schedule. They're over under 7. They're at Penn State. Plus they play Georgia and SEC West. And then Florida is interesting to me this year too. Because, they lost. Not just Kyle Trask, but obviously Tony and Kyle Pitts. Their defense regressed a ton last year. I'm sure they'll get better, but I kind of feel like they might be taking a step back a little bit this year. They're over under with 9, and they got to play Alabama, LSU, and Georgia. So I was kind of looking at that, maybe thinking those teams take a little bit of a step back. Bama's is 11.5, which I think is ridiculous. When you factor in how much they lost too, as town as they are, I think they'll drop a game or two. But yeah, those are kind of some of the ones I was looking at. LSU, I think LSU's going to be pretty good. A lot of people up here at Barstool are saying LSU's going to lose this opener to UCLA, and I'm not really sure. I see all that happening.
I'm with you, Mintzy. I think LSU's too gifted on the lines of scrimmage, specifically the defensive line. And I know that UCLA is returning 7 offensive linemen on this team with experience, but I don't think that they have. I don't think they've blocked anybody like B.J. Ojolari or Jaquelin Roy, which will be up there. And LSU's got some depth on that defensive line too, which should make for a really good opener. When you look at this SEC last week down in Media Days or a week and a half ago when the media polls came out, Texas A&M was selected and voted 2nd in the SEC West. How do you like Jimbo and where he is with this Aggie team going into this season, as he's replacing a lot too?
Yeah, the thing is, last year their defense kind of carried them. Their defense was excellent last year. I know they lost a good bit. The thing I'm watching with A&M is Haynes King, the new quarterback. He was unbelievable up in Longview, Texas, which I kind of got to see him because I was up in the Shreveport area at that point. And he's a coach's son. He can run. He can throw. He was the number 1 dual threat quarterback in the country that year. And so that's the big thing I'm watching because I never was impressed by Kellen Mond. I know Haynes King could be young, but I'm real curious to see. Jimbo's kind of said this is, his biggest quarterback recruit has been an A&M and his guy. So that's the thing I'm going to be watching super close with them. The defense, as I said, was good last year. They did lose some guys. So I don't know. I think A&M will be good. I'm not totally sitting here saying they're definitively the 2nd best team in the West, but I do think they'll be solid.
Anything around the NFL standing out right now?
Man, I don't love all this Saints stuff. The Mike Thomas thing, Sean Payton saying in his press conference, basically, it was avoidable. And I'm real curious if Winston Hill did. The one point I made is I wonder if the Saints are so bad, you know, their receiving core is so bad, does this help Taysom Hill get a chance to play a little more early in the season? Because I thought, you know, how can you pay Mike Thomas $100 million and have Taysom Hill out there completing 10 passes a game? But if Thomas is out, it almost seems like you rely on the running game and the O-line, and maybe Taysom gets a shot more early in the year. But I don't love the Mike Thomas thing. Looking around the NFL, obviously the Bucs are going to be awesome. I mean, that's not anything too groundbreaking when they got everybody back. I think they're going to be extremely tough. I'm just excited to get it going, though, Jordy. It's my first football season, full one at Barstool, and there's some announcements coming out from me and some stuff I'll be doing in the fall that'll be out for next week or two that I can't really say yet. But I'm just so excited, and I'm looking forward to trying to get south in October, looking at Jazz Fest in LSU Florida and LSU Ole Miss in Oxford. And some other stuff. That's kind of what I'm trying to pinpoint on a big stop line.
More important in October for you to make LSU Ole Miss or widespread panic Halloween?
LSU Ole Miss. For sure.
Okay.
Ooh, that was
Wow,
quick.
for sure.
That's a quick answer.
Yeah. Well, let's be real. I'm going to five nights for widespread panic and Beacon in September. So, they're up here. They're up here. I've never done that before. September 16th and 20th. I've done 4 in a row before, 5 in a row. It's Thursday through Monday.
Damn.
It's famous Beacon. So yeah. That one. So I feel like
Your brain will be jello the next
I
week.
was just thinking he was going to come back a whole totally different person.
Yeah, that was going to be wild. So the Halloween I'd like to make, but especially because the Bucs Saints is Halloween afternoon, 3:25. So when you think doubleheader, Bucs Saints, and then my morning jacket's unreal. They're playing Halloween in NOLA too.
Are they really?
Yeah.
They're playing the Orpheum. So
I'm excited.
I mean, we're looking at Bucs Saints and then Panic for my morning jacket. That's a tough Halloween, but I kind of think on the NOLA front, I'm looking more at trying to make that Rolling Stones Jazz Fest October 13th, and then making a weekend of it and hitting Fort LSU so make a night game.
First Wednesday show for Jazz Fest. The Rolling Stones making them go a day early.
Yeah.
Down there at the fairgrounds. Good to catch up with you, Mintzy. I know that you've got a training session here that starts in 2 minutes, bro. Go get them.
Yeah, I do. And then I also want to mention, y'all mentioned the live music. I'm about to fire some live music content at Barstool. Just kind of in the same vein I did with college baseball. Just throw some stuff at it, see if it sticks. I'm going to New Haven, which is Dave Portnoy said is the pizza capital of the United States today. Going to go see some shows up there. Joe is almost dead. And then I'm going to fish on the beach in Atlantic City in a couple of weeks. And you heard the Panic. So be prepared for some lot videos and maybe even some concert reviews. It's going to be pretty fun.
Good Lord, Mintzy. Stay alive, my friend.
It's all one song, Mintzy. It's all one song.
Just stay alive, baby. Stay alive. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, take it easy, boy.
All right, boy.
Yeah, he's back.
There he is. There's our guy.
That's the Mintz I know.
Benjamin Mintz checking in from Barstool Sports this morning. Daily, we're brought to you by Falaya Real Estate. Online at Falaya.com. Get in touch with Barrett Blondo, our good friend over there at Falaya, who's changing the game the way that real estate is bought and sold. As you can get in touch with Falaya by checking in online. You can download the app inside your Google or Apple store today if you're looking to sell your house this summer or fall, and you're thinking about trying for sale by owner, then you need to check out Falaya. Listing plans start at only $399. You can sell your house by yourself and save thousands with Falaya. For more information, visit Falaya.com or download the app today inside of your Google and Apple stores. Remember, if you like doing things yourself, if you want to save some cash, then you got to check out Falaya Real Estate. Download the app inside Google Play or your Apple App Store coming up here today to get the application on your smart device. Appreciate Ben Mintz for stopping by in.
Forgot to ask him, but he ate a banana. He peeled and ate a banana in 9.8 seconds. Under 10 seconds.
He did.
And I don't think I can.
Very impressive.
It was incredibly impressive.
Very
not
impressive.
Sexual at all.
It was not.
It was strictly
like
business.
It's not.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And
How is it not sexual?
Because he launched it. It wasn't like it wasn't like a one. Like throw it back. It was like I'm eating this. So it was. He made it very guttural. And
a lot of experience coming from behind that camera. It sounds like
POV, baby. I have the internet.
But yes, I mean, Mintz. It was. I mean, you could tell the room was like, wow.
It was an incredible feat.
It was. It was amazing.
I don't know how Noah.
Yes. Go ahead, deflect over there, bro. Yeah,
How
right.
fast can you eat a banana?
All right, when we come back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, we'll dive into some of these comments
I've never had a banana.
from the bunker. Ever?
Ever.
You've
No
never
lie.
had a banana?
Don't lie.
no way.
Don't
I
lie.
swear. I
There's
don't
no
eat,
way.
we've talked about this. I don't really eat fruits or
So
vegetables.
you've never had a piece of a banana? Like
well,
in a
I put it in.
salad
I don't eat salads. I put it in a
Fruit-
protein
fruit
shake,
salad.
like a frozen banana in a protein shake. But that doesn't count. I've never
Well,
peeled.
yeah, it does. You've eaten a banana then. If
But
you
I've never
put it
like
in it.
peeled and eaten a banana.
Okay.
Which I feel like that probably in the minority.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yeah, you really are.
Very, very much so.
All right.
That's okay. If you don't like them, you don't like them.
I don't even know.
All right, Peter Couhig coming up.
Get some
yeah,
bananas
we're
in here.
gonna try a banana, bro.
Ugh.
Peter Couhig coming up here, and we will also talk to Nathan Velasquez. Nathan has been under
my
some, I mean, just
didn't know.
Twitter
Nathan.
fury, bro. Social media backlash on Nate. I think he was just kind of putting out a review of a movie earlier this week. And I mean, you would have thought he said Ed Orgeron's bad at his job. I mean, good God. We're back with more Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Nate needs PR help.
Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Cam Thomas drafted 27th overall last night in the first round by the Brooklyn Nets. The former LSU sharpshooter comes off the board. Trendon Watford and Javonte Smart picked up post-draft as undrafted free agents. Smart goes to Miami as he settles on terms with the Miami Heat, while Trendon Watford will get his shot with Portland. Kind of like the fit with Portland.
Yeah, I think Portland's a good spot for him.
Yeah.
You like Portland more than Javonte to Miami?
I think that Miami is guard heavy, so it's going to be tough for Smart to crack.
Culture-wise, he fits great.
I think culture-wise, he is a great fit.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if he'll make waves, but I could see him making the team in a couple of years.
G League for a couple of seasons, for sure.
Both of them, for sure.
Cam Thomas is in the best spot, though.
I agree.
I don't know if there was a better, maybe the Knicks, because there's more openness, but I don't know if there's a better spot for him to go.
And when you talk about just a scorer, to go play alongside those three guys, when you talk about Kyrie, Harden, and KD, three of the most natural, best scorers that the game has ever seen.
Right. And then,
I think that there's minutes for Thomas next season.
100%.
To get on that team, to get on the floor.
They were talking after, and I forgot who it was. It was like, don't be surprised if you see him at the top of the rookie leaderboards or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure.
By All-Star break, because he's gonna be able to have freedom, do whatever he wants because.
Well, he'll be on that
team.
Yeah, and he'll be on that second line that comes out, and I wouldn't be surprised if the way that Brooklyn did it last year, they kind of kept one star with the second team. So if you have somebody else to be able to kind of feed him shots and let Cam cook, I mean, he could get you 10, 12 and a quarter.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of Marcus Thornton whenever he was in the league. Just go put him out there.
Absolutely, let him shoot it.
Yeah, let him shoot it.
And if he gets hot, he might get you 30.
Right.
Pelicans added Virginia guard Trey Murphy to the roster as the Pelicans finished last season in the bottom 5 on three-pointers made and three-point possessions. Murphy was drafted in the first round last night by New Orleans. He's the only player in Virginia history to post a 50, 40, and 90 shooting season in 2021. He averaged a team-high 13 points for Rice. He transferred from Rice to Virginia in between his sophomore and junior season. But a pretty good shooter. I don't know much about him. Do you?
Yeah, he was a great pick. He really fits exactly what you need to put around Zion. You need a lanky forward that can stretch the floor. He's a great three-point shooter. He's kind of exactly what you need at 3 and D. He'll hit the three. He can play defense. He can get in the passing lanes. A lot of people had him slotted to go earlier, so I'm very glad he fell to us.
Yeah, no, it'll be
selection.
It'll be interesting to see where he fits in, and the strategy now with the addition from Memphis. Is it Valanciunas and Zion playing next to each other, and how they strategically build this roster. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to put around Zion to make sure that you're maximizing his skill and making sure you're taking advantage of him, bringing the ball up the floor and doing other things around him. He's very unique. He's not. There's not a comparison to him when you think about where you need to be from ancillary parts around him. So it'll be interesting to see how they land on those parts. And it seems like Murphy, with the way he can shoot it, is a good fit.
And it gives them opportunity for a switchable lineup. If you put Murphy, who's 6'9", long arms, and then Brandon Ingram, who's probably has the longest arms I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And then Zion as your small forward, power forward, center, you can switch all those positions, and it makes defense much easier than when you have a Steven Adams who can only guard one guy, having him on the floor. So,
I thought the most impressive thing they did during the draft was move Bledsoe and Adams.
Yeah,
get rid of those guys.
That was the best move I have seen
Griffin make. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
All right, some other news coming out yesterday was that the 14 SEC presidents and chancellors voted unanimously Thursday to extend invitations to Big 12 co-founders, Oklahoma and Texas, to join the league, leaving the only deal left on this is the timeline, seemingly when this could happen. Now, Oklahoma and Texas are contractually bound to the Big 12 until 2025, where the conference owns their media rights, but it seems like that it's not going to last that long. that it's probably going to happen before this. Right now, if they were both to opt out, it would be an $80 million penalty per school, which, I know is a just generational tons of money, and it's tough to scoff at that. But those two schools can cut the check. I'd imagine that they'll play a season in the Big 12 and then try to work themselves out of the Big 12 to get into the SEC next season, is my anticipation.
Well, I would imagine that they have a little bit of power here. Once they are negotiating their way out of it and they start to see even this season play with the cloud of them leaving under, and you start to see how that money kind of changes hands. You start to see, like, what the true value of them leaving the school is. So it's almost if the Big 12 just wants to, like, cut ties, like, get out of here. It's all the games. That's what everybody's going to be talking about every game. Every Oklahoma-Texas game is going to lead with them joining the SEC. So why hold on to it? Why not just... I think the Big 12 is going to, like, see that light at the end of this season, despite them trying to basically sue ESPN for doing some sort of... I mean, that's what they did. That's what ESPN does. So I understand why they're upset about them basically defunding the Big 12, but that's the only reason the Big 12 existed in the first place, was because they got the Longhorn Network done. So they're in a tight spot.
And then on Wednesday, the Big 12 sent a cease and desist letter to ESPN accusing the network of encouraging other conferences to go after the Big 12's members. The conference claims to have evidence ESPN and another conference have worked to undermine the Big 12. ESPN has denied those claims. Bob Bowlesby sent the letter that Ross Dellinger got his hands on and published on Twitter yesterday, and saw the claims of Bowlesby saying that ESPN could be behind a lot of these movings and shakeups in college football and some of this conference realignment. So this to me feels like a Hail Mary, a last-ditch effort for Big 12 to try and hold on to what they have in Texas and Oklahoma. But the SEC made the vote earlier this week, and it was unanimous. And I think that's one of the strong suits of the conference, whether fair or unfair or good, bad, or indifferent, that they do everything unanimously. I know that Texas A&M was an outlier, late last week when the news had kind of popped, and Ross Bjork and Jimbo Fisher were at SEC Media Days, and really kind of, they were surprised. I mean, they weren't anticipating the news to happen. You could tell by their reaction, and in that moment, there was a lot of people saying, well, when this vote goes down, it's obviously going to be 13-1. And Texas A&M is going to be the lone school that's going to vote against this. But the SEC behind closed doors made sure and got the message right and put all of their schools, all of their institutions on the same page. And that to me is one of the most attractive pieces of the Southeastern Conference in a world where you see so much disarray and so much confusion, or so many messages that don't line up with people and organizations, that the SEC has stayed pretty steadfast and strong and unanimous in all of their feelings and all of the business that they run. And I think that makes them very attractive to schools like Texas and Oklahoma. Look, the financial impact, I know, is really what brings everybody to the table and makes everybody realize what's going on. But when I saw that, now that they were at a unanimous decision, I was trying to think back and think on what haven't they been unanimous on. I mean, cross rivalries, cross division rivals, I guess is the last thing that it seemed like was a point of contention for the conference. I mean, all of these issues that seemingly haunt college football and other conferences just do not even just doesn't affect the Southeastern Conference.
Do you think that Texas jobs with that message? Because they're going to come in and they're going to want to put hike their pants up and say, look who's here now, and they might try to disrupt some of the uniformity in the SEC, because they, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, they think of themselves as somebody that is above whatever league they're in.
Which is fine, but I mean,
you got to play the game.
You're not going. They're not going to get special treatment. They're not going to get. They're not going to get more money, more of a cut than any other school, and I think they have to understand that. So, I mean, outline the financial stuff. What can they really belly up and ask for more than the other ones? I mean, I know that they have an ego. I know that they have a brand awareness to them, that they understand how big and strong and powerful their brand in college sports is. But when you align them along the side of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, Ole Miss. I mean, sure, there's a pecking order, but I mean, the difference isn't legions of, I mean, it's not miles of difference in the power. And then you got to play the game. I mean, you got to get on the field and earn that respect in the league. I mean, I think if one thing that Texas A&M over the last couple of years under Jimbo has done is at least made up a lot of ground in the respect column of the SEC. Now, I know it's easy to kind of still look at them and laugh on some of the things that they react to and some of the things that they get caught up in and some of the cups they make after games and stuff like that. But when you look at the roster now, this looks like an SEC roster. I mean, you could have all the Kyle Allens and Kyler Murrays you want, but if you didn't have defensive linemen and guys that could create a difference on the lines of scrimmage, I mean, nobody really took you as a threat. But now, I mean, they're putting guys into the league. I mean, they probably have the best offensive lineman in the Southeastern Conference in Kenyon Green, and their defensive front is really the strong suit of their team. So, I mean, they're built like an SEC squad. Texas right now, they got a lot of work to do as far as putting players in to look like a Southeastern Conference team. And before you can start asking for favors or thinking you're bigger than you are, you better win on Saturdays. You know what I mean? Like, you better compete on Saturdays. And, it's one thing to come from the Big 12 where, every October, first Saturday in October, you play your biggest rival in Oklahoma in one huge game. But week in, week out, like Lucci said earlier this week, I mean, you get off of a road trip to Florida and you turn around and got to go to Mississippi State or Ole Miss and then play Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, and Florida, Georgia, LSU. I mean, it's just there's no room for there's no room for ego during those schedules. No, they have it, and
they seem pretty confident.
I understand you can show up with it, but the fastest way to lose an ego is to get your ass kicked.
You're gonna get humbled real quick.
I mean, and if you're showing up to the SEC thinking that that's who you are, well, somebody's gonna bust your ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, somebody's gonna get you. And I think O said that kind of earlier this week when he was asked about it. I mean, he kind of said, look, there's some things that the SEC schools are going to have to adapt to, but they're going to have their eyes opened as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, they're going to step into some things and they're going to be humbled in the sense of, oh, wow, we used to just be able to walk in and say this and get it done, but now we're competing with, 8 or 9 other schools in our own league that can do a lot of the similar stuff that we're talking about. Now, I do think that there is a difference in name, image, and likeness. And like I said last week, I mean, I really do believe that the schools like Texas, USC, Miami, and these aren't, this isn't an SEC discussion, but just the bigger brand schools that have, a lot of money in their alumni base and a lot of money in and around their boosters that want to help out, that want to be a part. I think that they have an advantage in the recruiting structure of college football in today's age, because I think that there is, every school's got a selection of them. Some schools have a larger selection of them, and I'm talking about millionaires in their alumni base and a part of their boosters that want to help out, that want to do anything they can to support the program, to want to give a dollar amount that can only be, said down by the head coach, and they can cut the check as soon as possible so they can get the access or the respect that they're looking for by some of these people. And in Austin, Texas, they've got more than just about everybody out there. And I'm not talking about just millionaires. I'm talking about millionaires that care about the football program. Right? I mean, other schools can compete, but other schools, millionaires want to donate back to the university or want to invest their money in other means. In Texas, at the University of Texas, they have a lot of boosters with a lot of cash that like to be meddling in the football department. And whether Steve Sarkisian can direct that energy to helping him out in recruiting, I think it would be very smart to do that. because you see the tactics that Nick Saban is already taking. He's spreading that message to the public like Alabama's open for business. So it will be interesting to see how these recruiting wars are fought, how they are propagandized. I mean, really, I mean, like how people spread the message of this NIL world. Like I said, do we even know? I mean, has anybody gone and fact-checked Saban on Bryce Young? I mean, does he have $1 million on the table?
Surely someone has, right?
Well, how do you even find any of this out?
I don't know.
This is so crazy.
Yeah,
I've never done anything. Like, I've never been involved in the sports where something like this comes along and it's like, nobody really knows anything.
Right.
Everybody's grasping at straws, and you can kind of put out whatever message you want. Yeah. If you want to say he has $2 million, like, if you're the kid that's committed to Ohio State saying he has, like, Ohio State could be rubbing that kid and just tell him, look, we've got $800,000 for you, quit high school. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know that for sure. Like, there's no way to know. Or there's no way for us to know if that's the real truth, but they convinced him enough that he's going to skip his senior year.
Right.
Yeah. Patrick Kimmery, millionaires don't equate to wins and a winning program. It used to not, but it could now because they can pay kids legally. And if you can go, build up a Rolodex of a couple of guys or a couple of business people that you can call that want to be a part of the program, and you can steer that energy in the right. I mean, a lot like the question that was asked to Orgeron, I think a lot of people around fan bases are thinking. In the room of the Baton Rouge Rotary earlier this week, a businessman asked Ed Orgeron, if my company wants to start an intern program that pays college athletes, what do I do? I think it's a fair question. I think that's probably a lot of people want to know that on college campuses. A lot of boosters want to know, how can I help? What can I do? How do I start? Who do I call?
Do you think you'll see dedicated staffs to this? Like,
yes.
Well, because nobody asked because I know they have to, but now you're losing a little bit of money in terms of now some of this money is going to the players where it used to all go to the schools. So you have to you can't just throw 15 people together and pay them, oh, here's $100,000 like they used to do,
right?
Like with analysts, and they can had a blank check now, but you have this money. Some of it is going to players now. So I wonder how you have to like delicately put together a staff. Because I think that's what it's headed toward. I wouldn't imagine this falls on anybody already in the athletic department.
I mean, have you seen the story on Quinn Ewers?
That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah. I mean, did you mention my name?
I did earlier, but yeah, that's the Ohio State commit.
Right.
I mean, yesterday.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
On our show yesterday.
Yeah, on the show yesterday.
And he's got a decision to make.
Yeah.
Right, on whether or not he could graduate early, and take one online course, and get to Ohio State, and enroll early and accept some of these name, image, and likeness deals that are on the table for him, or he's going to fight Texas legislation and go to court over being able to cash in on some of these deals as a high schooler. I mean, it's already starting to affect the high school game. It hasn't even been enacted for a month. The law hasn't even been legal for a month, and high school football is already being affected by it. Right. So, I mean, you have to dedicate resources, time, staff, money to this because it's a tidal wave. I mean, it's happening whether you are prepared for it or not. And that's all I was saying to start off the show. You know what I mean? I know people think that I'm banging on Orgeron and I hate on Orgeron now, and I'm looking for clicks because I'm on a new platform and want to change my stance.
Jock.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's not my gig, man. That's not my gig. All I'm saying is that Orgeron is one of the most dominant recruiters in college football. He has proven that he wants to bring LSU to the mountaintop and keep them competitive within college football. To do so, you've got to be buttoned up from a public relations standpoint on some of this stuff that you say out into the public, right? On simple messages like name, image, and likeness, things that the Alabama coach is answering it a certain way, and you don't have to follow that blueprint and do it exactly like Alabama. But you can't have Alabama say that my guy's got $1 million on the table without taking a snap, and LSU to say, call my special assistant, which isn't even legal. That's all I'm saying. And that doesn't, and being bad at public relations doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to cross over and be a bad coach. And because his public relations are bad, I'm not saying to run him. I'm just saying that you got to tighten that up. That's got to get right. Because we've talked about more PR missteps than we have
wins
walking it right over the last 6 months. And you got to start winning in that department. Because it means something. Everything in that world of college sports, specifically head football coaches, is very much calculated. Everything to what they say, to where they stop, to where... I mean, you don't think that Saban, speaking at the Texas High School Coaches Association the week after Arch Manning's in Austin and getting in that room and answering questions from all the coaches and then talking about what the advantage of coming to Alabama is calculated to Nick Saban? I mean, it's that granular of being competitive on that level. You have to win every day. You don't have to win 12 Saturdays in the fall. The 12 Saturdays are in the fall. You win on the work and the effort that you're putting in now. And they do work. Their recruiting class, their coaching staff, their off the field stuff that they pay attention to and invest in. LSU's a championship level program, but to maintain that status, you got to be prepared for the new wave that's coming to college football. And all I was pointing out in hour number one is that LSU looks ill prepared for that. And if you are, it could cost you.
Because if you're a parent, the question shifts from if you're getting recruited to how can I help to get, but what's up?
Hey.
How can I help to get my kid to play on Sunday to how can you get him paid now? Like the money has fast forwarded 4 years. So that's the first question that they come to the table with is how can you put my son in name, image, and likeness? What's your plan? It's no longer, hey, I can get him to the NFL because we're LSU and this is the way that we've done it the past 25 years. It's changed to, okay, how can we make money this year? So that's the question that you have to be prepared for. It's changed. His recruiting pitch has to change.
It's right. And that's all I'm saying is that you've got to be prepared for that question because just like it's coming from a room full of your supporters speaking in your own stadium the Tuesday before your season starts officially to get on the practice field, you've got one of your people in a Q&A who loves and supports your program more than anybody in the world, just asking how you can help, how they can help. And you walked into a PR. It's not a mess. It's not a disaster. It's not something that, but it's something that you had an opportunity to really kind of put forth a really good soundbite. And the soundbite that's living out there is call my special assistant.
But didn't he know that question was going to be asked to him?
That's what I was saying. I would think so. I mean, if you didn't think it was coming on Tuesday, it's coming at a press conference.
Yeah.
It's coming somewhere. I mean, they were going to load up and do the coach's caravan that I've seen has been called off due to COVID concerns. But I mean, you would get it there.
You're certainly going to get it in a room full of businessmen that live and breathe purple and gold.
You know you're going to get
and
it.
They're trying to help. Like they're just not trying for this to be the story where we don't really have a good answer. It's look, this is for me to lob you one, and it could have been like you say, Nick Saban plants questions. I mean, you would imagine they'd have gone through the steps before if it was planted, but it's just if it's not, it's still people you know are going to ask, how can I give my money to you?
Yes.
Right, and that's what they're wanting to know. I mean, like we want in. How do we get in? I'll tell you after. Come see me. Come talk to me. We'll make sure that we do it the right way. I mean. That soundbite, look at it's Football Scoop. It's all over the place. I mean, it was all over the place. I mean, it was 48 hours ago. So I mean, look, man, I'm not saying run Ed Orgeron, and I'm not saying that Ed Orgeron is underqualified because he can't handle the PR of the LSU job. I'm just saying that there's a lot more that goes into this, man. That you got to be ready to step up and be prepared for it in a question. In an NIL world, you can't answer it like that. You just can't answer it like that when your competition is answering it with $1 million on the table for his unplayed quarterback. I mean, that's how competitive that is. I mean, Saban picks up the phone to Arch Manning and says, "Did you see LSU's response to NIL? Did you hear what I told a room full of Texas coaches?" And Arch, by the time you get to Tuscaloosa, I'll have you $5 million before you take a snap.
Hell, he could make him skip his senior year.
Yeah. All right, Petey Couhig is here from Wycombe. As have you been back since you left?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been back and now back in Baton Rouge. So we will talk to him about the beautiful game coming up here in a couple of minutes here on the Jordy Culotta Show. As it is great to see him back in South Louisiana. Daily, we are brought to you by AdvantaClean over here. Remember, get in touch with Bradley Lynch and his crew over at AdvantaClean at advantaclean.com. Remember, water, fire, or mold damage, if you see it, smell it, or sense it around the house, get in touch with AdvantaClean, as Lynch can help you out. He's very experienced, got great experience in that field, and can get you right. This is a personal testimony from the Jordy Culotta Show, as he helped us out when we flooded a couple of months ago and has really been helping us out throughout that entire process. AdvantaClean, online at advantaclean.com. More when we come back here with Peter Couhig on the Jordy Culotta Show.
Does he help with roaches?
Dude, no AC sponsor yet?
No.
Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. That's why we talked to Petey Couhig.
Learned a lot.
Yes, indeed. Pete Couhig, a Baton Rouge native, a Catholic High Hall of Famer, a Grizzly great that was inducted back in 2019 after he graduated in 1990. I thought Fitzy would have been a Grizzly great.
Man, you know.
How is Fitzy?
Both Patrick and Fitz were very, very good.
Get up on that microphone. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Patrick still
Look,
is,
bring it to you.
maybe
Bring it to you.
second all-time in career assists at Catholic High.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, behind you?
Yeah.
By a large margin.
But who's asking?
Who's asking?
No. He came real close. He might actually beat me. No, I think I'm second. He's first.
No way. No way.
I do
Wow.
think that's true.
Pete Couhig, who is a very interesting cat from South Louisiana now, separates his time across the pond and down here in South Louisiana. He goes from high Wycombe to Louisiana life, back and forth, and of course he is a part of the Wycombe Wanderers over there in the UK.
Yep. Buckinghamshire.
Palace?
Very close.
Oh.
Good to see you again,
Stone's
sir.
throw away.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Jordy.
How you watching these Olympics?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Last time I think y'all were shocked by the fact that soccer never stops. Our season
That's
ended.
right.
The Euros started. We've got the Olympics. It's just been a summer chock full of good sports.
So tell me, I know the American calendar of football and basketball. Last night was the NBA draft.
Yep.
They do combines. They work these guys out. They put them into a summer league, and then their league gets going right around Halloween and expires in mid-June.
Yep.
Right around beginning of July. How does your calendar work as a front office executive, as one of the a part of the ownership of an international soccer team?
All right, so ours is nuts. Right now, specifically in the summer, there are 2 transfer periods. One is during the summer, one's during January, which is about mid-season. And so right now, guys that have come off contracts, players are being bought. We've sold a couple of players. We've signed a few players off of that were free agents. We actually signed a former Premier League player named Sam Vokes a couple nights ago and introduced him at our match against Leicester City.
So how is the American? How do you
very different?
How do you
It's
scout?
just,
do you scout Americans?
Yeah, we do, but it's very difficult for Americans to get the work visa in England. It's very easy, or was easier before Brexit, to get Europeans into England. But League 2, League 1, Championship are heavily England, Scotland, Wales, and Welsh players. So, our guys, everybody watches a million football matches. The guys create lists of targets, guys that we like, and then sort of when the summer comes, we go after them.
So where are you as far as the competitive calendar goes right now? I mean, I know you mentioned
that was our big preseason match. Our season begins in 8 days. August 7th, we play our first league match at home against a team called Accrington Stanley.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. It's actually we had almost 5,000. We held it to 5,000 supporters at the match against Leicester the other night. We have a lot of brand new stuff going on at the stadium. The digital infrastructure that we built, it's probably the best Wi-Fi you could possibly get.
And that's for the fan experience?
Anywhere, yeah.
Is this to enhance fan experience?
And we really wanted to go cashless, ticketless, just to make it easier. There's when you have cash, there's crazy lines. Queues, as they call them in England.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so we just really wanted to improve the delivery there. And just bring it's a stadium that was built in 1990, and we looked at it. We probably have 120 new digital screens around the place, and we just really wanted to basically make it go from 1990 to the 21st century, and we've kind of pulled that off. Sound system that we installed is insane as well.
Yeah, so one of the spots that I have not envied over the last 10 years has been athletic directors, owners, people that are responsible for putting butts in seats, just because of the in-home experience has gone through the roof. I mean, it's so easy to watch. I mean, look, it feels like this is happening in our backyard watching this.
It's the opposite in England. It is extremely difficult to watch your team on TV in England.
Really? So do you like that from an ownership?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Actually, I'm probably in the very small minority. Rob and I, we really feel as though if all the kids in Wycombe and the surrounding area could watch their team on TV on one of the free channels, that it would actually over time increase the number of seats, and it kind of replicates what we've seen. And I hear you. It's extremely difficult to go to a game nowadays in America when you got an 84-inch TV and the camera angles. But you
so is that our lazy mentality?
You can't ever recreate that LSU stadium experience.
100%. 100%. So that's more to our American mentality, right? Where you talk about your fan base being
Yes.
British, and they still love the end game. I mean, you could almost
Yeah.
roll out a 1990 experience for them, and they'd still show up.
Yeah, so we're kind of, I guess, at an advantage in the fact that if you want to see Wycombe Wanderers, that when we play at home, you have to go to the match, which is it is what it is. We're just dealing with what English football gives us, and bringing sort of a little different approach to it.
Yeah.
We actually, when we came in there, one of the things that we wanted to do was make bring the sort of tailgate spirit to pre and post match.
Sure.
When we got there, folks were getting our kickoffs on Saturdays at 3. They got there at 2:55 and left at 5:15. Tuesday night was incredible, even though we were testing. It was basically soft open of a new massive restaurant with 5,000 people there. We actually set a per head spend record at Wycombe on Tuesday night, which is pretty crazy because we still had problems. There's you can order from your seat and you can pick it up. A couple of and we use it.
And that's
as a
every
test
seat in the
event.
house?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they can actually, you guys go to enough games where you know that Wi-Fi is difficult. It's difficult, supposedly, and I think this is true. If there are 10,000 people in our stadium, they could all actually be watching a different match on. They could open up their ESPN app, or over there it's a Sky app, and just watch whatever they want on TV if they wanted to.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Which in England, everybody makes fun of the people that support multiple teams, but when you're talking about a League One championship level team like ours in an area like London, it's going to be natural that folks like the local team, like a Wycombe Wanderers, and then also support a Chelsea or an Arsenal or Liverpool, the greatest club in the world.
Yes. What story was I seeing the other day about paparazzi following a soccer star, and they had him passed out in a hotel room. What is the?
That was Wayne Rooney.
That was Wayne. That was Wayne Rooney.
Man,
that was Wayne Rooney.
He's taking that English loss hard.
What is that? What is that part of the game in and around UK like? Because I mean, here it's more around Hollywood, right? I mean, rather than
those guys are the Hollywood stars.
So they're the movie stars, 100%. Right? Yes.
Football guys are the most popular guys in every town. And you're talking when you go down to step 8 or 9, when those guys are walking around the smallest little hamlets in England, they're getting stopped by the local boys.
Sure.
And so it is, it is pretty crazy to be in the middle of all that. It's pretty cool. Those guys actually love to come to vacation in America because you get away from it. Yeah, you're not noticed. Yeah. Although it's growing. If you want to be, you can't. You can go to some spots.
Were you across the pond for the England final?
I was. So I spent a month. I came back, spent a good time with the family. Went back for a month to help with preseason, get everything straight and work on the transfer window and do a bunch of stuff. I had to come back for a few emergency issues, but I was there for the Euros, which is a phenomenal tournament. The Euros are nearly on par with the World Cup. England made a valiant run towards the final, but then ended up losing to the Italians. I kind of felt bad because, growing up here, I had a lot more Italian friends than England friends. So
of course you did.
Yeah, exactly. So I've always, and really, back in the 80s, 90s when I was growing up, the Italian national team was phenomenal. They were probably my favorite European team. And so it was kind of nice to see. I went to the semifinal, Italy versus Spain, which was a phenomenal match.
For somebody who is not as obsessive as you are about the sport and only, kind of helicopters in for events like that to watch, was that as classic of a match as for someone it seemed like to me who very rarely watches
U.S.
the
keeper
sport?
just made a save in the shootout.
That's the second save.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Going left.
But was that as classic as a match?
If you just dropped in and your first match was a semifinal at the Euros or a quarterfinal at the World Cup or something like that, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
I love to hear you passionately
speaking
about it. Yeah.
The first match, one of the first matches, international matches I ever saw was in the '94 World Cup. I saw Brazil, Netherlands, and it is absolutely one of the probably top 5. 10 matches.
I still remember that '94 Brazil team because they had some of the most recognizable figures
Yes.
Them in Colombia.
Yeah,
really and truly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
that was nuts, man. That was nuts.
So what's your stay like here now? What's going on? What's your schedule like?
Still kind of got to wake up pretty early because England's 6 hours ahead of us here, so I'm able to get some work done early. Kudos, US won.
All right.
Made it to the final.
Wait, I wanted to get your pulse a little bit of what England was like whenever they lost in the final and how
It was madness.
That's what I was saying because in a
that
town
whole day was nuts. It was I don't know if y'all heard it here, but the English have a saying, "It's coming home."
Coming home.
Their national team is very, very good nowadays, and it just. I think everybody expected that was the day. They've never won the European Championship. They won the World Cup
it's
once.
in their backyard.
It's right there where they won the 66 World Cup, although it's a newer version of Wembley. Man, the scenes leading into it were just absolute madness all over the place. It actually, it was kind of funny. They were kind of making jokes. You opened up Twitter 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and all these English guys are like, "Yes, we are drinking all day for this." I was like, "Wow, that sounds like a regular Saturday at Tiger
Mardi
Stadium."
Gras.
It's game day.
What about Saka, the youngster who missed the PK, 19 years old? What do you imagine that has? What type of impact that has on him? Because he's one of these chosen one type players, right? I mean, he's kind of been deemed the next great.
Yeah, all the young England players are phenomenal footballers, and the English supporter base puts a lot of pressure on their team, especially in years like this when the finals at Wembley. I think it's just kind of where Twitter and Facebook have led us.
For sure. Yeah.
Keyboard warriors out there taking their anger out.
So he's hearing it. He's getting
Oh
it.
man, it was absolutely ridiculous. The good news is that in a lot of instances, the awareness, there's just evil in the world,
Sure.
and Twitter makes it easy for those anonymous people to just do dumb things. We've got a lot of the guys on our team. One of the guys on our team has to put up with it a lot because he's he is the largest footballer on the planet out of Bayok and Finland. He's got 1.5 million Instagram followers. He's one of the big stars in England.
Soccer's crazy.
It's I really appreciate the way that Bayo deals with it because he has the guy played in Lithuania in early in his career, and he was one of the first black players to ever play there, and so he's been through the worst of it, and he just has he ignores the haters.
Sure.
And that is very difficult to do, but also on the other side, I really like seeing those guys outing these people and trying to get the awareness
to stand up for it.
Yeah, exactly, because Europe has really we grew up in Louisiana in the South in the 70s and 80s, so we've been dealing with an integrated society for a very long time, whereas, kind of the opening up of the EU and a lot more migration taking place between the countries over the last 20, 30 years, I think they're just really starting to deal with racism in the same ways that we had to, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and even now,
How much do you invest in sports psychology?
A lot.
Really?
Yes.
Because we were talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo and his free throw percentage away from home compared to on the road, and then Ben Simmons being a number one pick and almost being scared of offensive basketball now. I mean, and just the psychology behind that.
Yeah.
How do you monitor that? How do you invest in that as an owner?
Our top assistant, Richard Dobson, is probably one of the leading guys in coaching, applying psychology to the game of football in England.
Wow.
He was involved with the with the FA, the governing body, very early on. They brought him in because they knew he was doing it. And we, during the recruiting process, there are specific things that they do, that they look at body language on the field in certain instances and try to understand. And there's certain just tickers that you see, like if a guy, when he gets substituted off, turns around and yells at the coach for doing it, is that a good thing? No,
Right.
probably
That's what
not.
we were
If he's
saying.
upset, there's a level of everybody's going to be upset by being pulled off of the pitch. There are ways to handle it, and so that's just keys into the. And then once there are players, we actually have a psychologist, Misha, that comes on site a couple times a week. She is around the team on match days and is a very important part of the staff and is available for those guys because it is an unbelievably all sports are unbelievably demanding professions. And so and it's year round and the awareness about mental health and to us it's an advantage because if we can keep our guys psychologically in tune and positive, and they're going to play better. And if we're proactive in that, we think we'll have a lot less incidents as a result. And the couple of years I've been involved, that has absolutely been the case.
Petey, I always appreciate our conversation, and it's always great insight. It's a perspective from somebody that we can familiarize with, being a South Louisiana native and has great communication skills, but also can give you international business from a sports landscape as a football owner, as a soccer club owner over in Wycombe, a part of the Wycombe Wanderers, and we always appreciate tapping into your mind and seeing you up close, man. Thank you for the time this
Cheers,
morning.
Man. We didn't even get to talk about the U.S. men's national team winning their 13th game in a row last night.
Let's do that. Let's. I knew I was leaving something out because I was trying to scroll back and read Katie and I's text about the national team, but the men's team compared to where the women's team is now, or let's just handle the men's team as just their own isolated subject here. How do you view U.S. men's national soccer when you just say it out loud?
Well, first of all, I love it. Going way back, I think we're in a transitional time frame where we got a young generation of players that are incredibly good, and we are incredibly deep. And so it's when you talk about building a national team, it's 18 to 25 players. Like the Gold Cup right now, we won this semifinal last night, made in the final. Going to play Mexico. Going to be a good match. But in this instance, we actually have. Last night was the youngest team in second youngest team in international football by age average to play a major semifinal.
Well, that's a great sign.
Yeah. So what happens in events like this, we're heavy in preseason training for massive European clubs. So our best players like Weston McKinney, Christian Pulisic, they're training with their clubs, getting ready for the season. And so what we've done in the Gold Cup is take a lot of the young guys and give them the opportunity and the caps and the international experience to see how they do. And this young squad has proven to be a pretty tough crew. It's crazy that Qatar, that's who we played last night, is actually pretty good at international football. But
where'd they fly those guys in from?
Exactly. It's a pretty interesting story that would take a long time to explain. But there are certain reasons why Qatar has a very good team with players born outside of their country.
Reasonable if it snows there.
I mean, look, we're the USA.
Qatar, huh?
Good old Qatar.
Every team, every country takes advantage of that. We certainly do. But Qatar, leading into hosting the World Cup next year, has certainly taken it to the next level over the last 10 to 15 years.
So soccer on a lot closer than it was a decade ago to being a prominent sport here in the States?
Yeah, absolutely. This generation, like we host in the World Cup in 2026, and this sounds crazy, but I think we can win it with the young guys that we have coming along. They are playing at the biggest clubs in Europe and leading those clubs. Christian Pulisic is number 10 for Chelsea Football Club. Weston McKinney is one of the best players in the Bundesliga. We have some phenomenal players that are going to come along. And I really think, lead us back to that. We've been very, very good before when Landon Donovan and those guys were making deep runs in the World Cup, winning trophies, and I think we're right there. I saw somebody say that last night and this morning could be one of the worst days in U.S. soccer, and I was just like, that is, and here we go. The U.S. won, and the women won, and so we're very good. It is very popular, and so I just keep seeing the game growing in participation and awareness, and then also in our excellence.
Yeah. When are you leaving? When do you head back?
I think I'm heading back August 16th.
Oh,
our first
sweet.
match. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm trying to put together a little watch party next week for
Little
the kickoff
time for a
game.
tea.
Yeah. Our first match is 9 a.m. next Saturday.
It's a great way to start
One of
the
my
day.
favorite pubs in the world is Finn McCool's down in New Orleans. I think I might have to make a special visit for some early morning beers to watch my chair boys.
Sounds like Norm when he walks into that place. Peter! Slide in the bar. Slide out of the bar. Great to see you, bro.
Good to see you too, Jordy.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Peter Couhig checking in here, and we will obviously reach back out to him before he heads back on August 16th. Next, when we come back, Nathan Velasquez, and close out the week here on the Jordy Culotta Show,
Troublemaker.
driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
So what did...
Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Welcome back here. Nathan Velasquez, our 5-minute critic, will close out the week with Nate as he's checking in from New York City. I've had to check in on Nate a couple of times over the last couple of days, make sure he's all good. The Twitter mob is out for our boy here as he made a couple of comments. This is what Nathan does. This is what he does for a living. He does the 5-minute critic. He gives you critiques on movies, and one of the breakdowns that he had over the last week has gone viral, to say the least, and probably not for the reasons that Nathan would like. But I think this is a part of the platform where he gave his thoughts on Moonlight, an Oscar award-winning film, which Nathan, I have seen, and I wholeheartly agree with you. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, Peter was wondering how he got his car out of the UDL, and I agree with Nathan on his breakdown of Moonlight. I mean, if this is an award-winning film, my goodness, what was the criteria? Because it was not entertaining. Nathan, good morning. How are you?
Doing all right. It's actually it's quieted down a little bit. It actually quieted down the amount of hate, and so that everyone knows the breakdown you're talking about and the full review. I'm going to have to review this thing today, so subscribe to 5-Minute Critic on YouTube now. The controversial take that I had were the words, "Moonlight is overrated Oscar trash." And my mentions right now, I don't know what to say. They quieted down around Wednesday, but then yesterday afternoon, apparently I'm getting retweeted just by people speaking French, saying I've got no idea what I'm talking about. Apparently everyone loves to say that because I like Joker, you're not allowed to then say anything about anything, which I don't quite get that one. But I mean, Jordy, I completely agree with you, and I think that, and I did not say that it's overrated trash. I think Moonlight has got plenty of fine stuff in it, plenty of fine stuff about it. The point is that nobody is watching the Oscars anymore. If you want to look at the amount of people that care about the Oscars, and, you know, for anyone that does care about the Oscars, everyone knows that the best picture is not going to say, like, oh, okay, the movie that won in 2005 isn't necessarily the best movie of the year. It's about celebrating movies. It's not about people like me watching the Oscars. I watch movie news every single day, so I, of course, am going to look and see what's winning. It's about the modern, just everyday person going about their day, and they want to watch a movie, and they want the Oscars to show them, hey, of all the stuff we watched this year, you know, what was the best one? Let's get together. Let's celebrate the fact that, you know, we watched movies. And for the last 8 years, Moonlight was part of this trend, the trend of awarding movies that by the time Oscar night happened, most people had not even heard of the movie. For the last 8 years, movies have won Best Picture that have drawn minuscule crowds, like really, really tiny crowds. And I don't know exactly why that is, but if you look at the last 8 years, whenever they started doing that consistently, and the Oscars every now and then they give something to Hurt Locker, a little known movie, but you know, the very next year they'll go from like that to $1 Million Baby, or they'll go from that to Slumdog Millionaire that makes $200 million. Like, it's not always small movies that win. And when they started doing that consistently, the viewers went right along with it. Like, there's always been like maybe a 4% margin of error, like since the 70s. You know, viewership would go down, it'd go up, but you know, there was never a huge drop. Ever since they started awarding these small movies, the drop has been in the last 8 years. What is it? I've got it here. I've got these notes here. Oh yeah, 120%. It's been a 120% drop in viewership.
Wow.
And yeah, there's a few hundred people that wanted to retweet saying, "Oh, Moonlight is an Oscar trash. You have no idea what you're talking about." But the people that actually matter, people paying for the movies, the people that are wanting to watch the Oscars, want to have a good time with their friends and family, they are leaving and they don't care, and that's making the Oscars not matter. So yeah, I would say the last 8 years, that list that has won Best Picture is a list of overrated Oscar trash.
8 retweets, 370 quote tweets.
Oh, ratioed.
45 likes on the tweet that the incredible Mr. Nat published on July 25th at 6:52 p.m. That 1 day later, just 1 day later on July 26th, got a quote tweet from Barry Jennings, who is the director of Moonlight, to his 230,000 followers, urging a GoFundMe to be supported by another young movie maker because of Nate's criticism to this movie in Moonlight. Did you ever imagine that one of your critiques would ever move and spur a crowd like this one has?
I didn't, and it was fun. Hey, if they want to quiet down now, that's okay. But if not, hey, I will keep using Google Translate to respond in French if I need to. That's no sweat off my back. It's pretty cool, and it's definitely weird. That never happened before. I actually had lunch yesterday with Ben Mintz. I kind of mentioned this to him. He's like, "Oh, dude, I literally said something yesterday. Everyone hates me. Just get used to it."
Yeah, right. I said something an hour and 20 minutes ago that the city would like a piece of me on Main Street right now so they can stone me to death. Or just mentioning something about Derek Panamsky and Ed Orgeron, and the city wants me crucified. So tell me what's coming up on 5 Minute Critic. How do you look at this as a point to maybe capitalize on? I know that for young people in our space or new people in the digital space, this is not the worst event that can happen to you.
No, absolutely not. And the few people that have taken notice that other film critics that use the online space, a few have reached out. Given advice for those types of things. Like, we're definitely starting today. I'll be putting out a review on Moonlight, and this is something that I think part of it seems to strike a chord. And the more conversations that I did have with people about how, especially the Oscars, this is a conversation that for people that like movies, people that are interested in movie news, I don't think people have really come to terms with how much trouble movies are in, and I think also I don't think people have come to terms with the level of resentment that the people in Hollywood have towards people that actually want to watch movies. I think that is part of what a lot of people are frustrated about. I think that's the reason that a lot of people are kind of losing respect for Hollywood, for the film industry, and the more people that are in the digital space are kind of focusing on that. And I guess these 5 words, I guess, was my intro into seeing if that's what people are kind of frustrated about.
Nate, is it a sense of unawareness from Hollywood? Do they have a sense of they don't get the wave that is crashing down on their front?
I think that in looking this week at the excuses, because every media outlet had an excuse for why viewership is going down. People would say, "Oh, it's coronavirus." It doesn't really make sense if you're looking over the last 8 years. They would say that, streaming has caused it, which doesn't make sense. Because right. every year there is a nomination for Best Picture that earns like upwards of $300 million. But people still like watching movies. I think that there was an article by the Hollywood Reporter that I think hit it on the head, but it drew the wrong conclusion. It said that we are getting more niche markets, and that's going to be something that people are going to have to live with. I think that the conclusion of that's going to have to be something people are going to have to live with is going to piss off a lot of people, because Hollywood is still the entertainment industry. It is not their job to tell everyone the little movies that they have to watch. It is to make fun movies and recognize that their job is to follow trends and make entertainment. And call it whatever you want, what they're telling people through the movies they are telling everyone that they have to watch. The biggest problem is not focusing on entertaining the audience, and that is their job.
Amen.
Take me through the timeline of after you sent that tweet to when you realized, holy shit, I might have caused a stir here. Did you like put your phone down, walk away, take a shower, come back? Or was it like, bling, 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 and you're like, oh God, this might have some steam?
Well, I don't remember the time that I sent the tweet, but it was responding to someone on film Twitter, which is a toxic place, but I absolutely love hanging out in there because you can piss people off so easily. No, it's great. It's great. But I think it must have been around 1 p.m. on Monday that I sent that out. And some people on film Twitter kind of caught on to it, and hey, that was fine. And it was probably about 5 o'clock that I realized for the first time, which I didn't know, because, hey, look, I'm trying to get better at Twitter, but I learned around 5 o'clock that on your desktop, the notification number doesn't go above 20. It does 20, and then it has a plus sign next to it. I didn't know that before, so I'm opening that thing up. It's like, 150 notifications. What the hell is going on right now? I had a dinner that night with a family member that came into town, and I was like, I need to delete the Twitter app from my phone now because I either can't focus or this thing's just vibrating all over the place. It's annoying as hell. I would say it's about 3 hours till it was like, what the hell, man?
That was I saw the rain pour, but I knew he was handling it great.
Of course, he loves it.
Yeah, he loves. I knew he was gonna handle it great.
A lot of people calling you mother effer. I'm sorry about that. There's a lot of mother effers going your way on Twitter.
That is not. That is the kindergarten level of the things that I am being called. Because of this opinion on Moonlight.
Nate, I'm looking at the characters on House of Gucci, which is going to feature my favorite Adam Driver, who I think is fantastic. He is great.
Incredible actor.
Lady Gaga, Al Pacino, and I know one of your favorites, Jared Leto.
My favorite too.
Tell me about what to expect from House of Gucci, because if it's anything like the cast says it's going to be, this is going to be an Oscar winner.
Cast your eye, Nate.
At the very least, this thing better take hair and makeup. Like it absolutely has to. I am really excited about this. I hope that it delivers on the hype that the posters show, the hype that the trailers are showing. It looks like a lot of fun. Like in the trailer, it kind of goes. It has all these like slogans. It says like "family is blah blah blah." It's greed. It's deception. And then Lady Gaga has like one great line. The music stops, and then you see it's murder. So it's like, okay, all right. They're turning it up.
Yes.
They're turning it up to 11. I absolutely love Lady Gaga. She's a phenomenal actress. I love seeing that she's still continuing in movies, and I'm really excited for this one.
Nate, have a great weekend. I don't know if you're on the run from the cops, but it sounds like you got an opening right now. So keep running, bro, and keep out of Twitter jail. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
Later, buddy. There is Nathan Velasquez checking in from New York City this morning here as he talks about the last week of his life.
I couldn't picture a funnier person that happening
No.
too. It's just so perfect.
No, and you know what? As he was going through it, I was thinking this is gonna be great for him.
Yeah,
this is gonna be fantastic. It'll all go back to that Moonlight tweet.
Yeah,
everything had started kind of from the Moonlight tweet.
I love that he's going to Ben Mintz for advice. Them two sitting down to dinner cracks me up.
That is funny. Great stuff today. Good to be back. Thanks for everybody out there supporting, liking, your dislikes, anything, all your comments.
Might be an all-time high on that.
Got 3 dislikes.
All the sharing that is going on. And I want to talk a little bit about the quarterback situation before I got out of here. Some of the comments that O made earlier this week at the Rotary. And I believe that he is playing this thing on announcing it as safe for his roster as possible, right? I think, again, a couple of weeks back, he stopped by on a radio appearance with Bobby Hebert, Christian Garrick, and Mike Detillier on WWL, and he really let the cat out of the bag there. I mean, if you recall, his comment was that the locker room knows, the coaching staff knows who the best quarterback on the team is. And if that's the case, then it seems like that the quarterback competition is decided, yet they want to give Fall just a couple of more days to secure Miles Brennan, I guess, to allow him to believe that he's in a competition so he doesn't lose a quarterback in the offseason. That seems like what some of the narrative is going to, and some people believe to be fact. I am one of those. I believe that this quarterback competition is settled right now as we speak. I believe that the quarterback competition between Max Johnson and Miles Brennan when in fall camp will be day-to-day grind, and it'll go back and forth. But at the end of the day, Max Johnson's going to be the quarterback at LSU. And I think comments like that Orgeron made, whether intentionally or unintentionally, like he did on WWL a couple of weeks back, really expresses that, right? I mean, if the staff knows and the players know, then common sense kind of tells you who it is, right? Because if it was so much in the line of the senior, of the guy that was expected to be there, then you would just announce it. in my opinion. But if it's because of a security reason of keeping somebody, on the roster and keeping the depth of the quarterback spot as plentiful as possible, then I understand what he's doing and telling a room full of people that it's going to be an everyday competition. Best man's going to win. Whoever gives LSU the best chance to win football games is going to be the quarterback. And he's looking forward to a healthy competition going into and coming out of fall camp. And I understand that. I buy into that. But all of that stuff's already gone on, in my opinion. I mean, they went through spring, and coming out of spring, they still want to see more from Brennan, and the more people you talk to, they've seen enough from Johnson. So I know that we've been flying the Max Johnson flag for a long time, and the closer it gets to fall camp, I think it flies even more sturdy because of where we go going into this competition. I believe the strategy for Orgeron is that he's speaking that into the public to make sure and give a good headspace to Miles Brennan, that he knows he's got he's got a competition on his hands, but moreover to keep him on the roster.
Right, and if you're Miles Brennan, wouldn't you, if you were to leave, wouldn't this be your last gasp, is to go into fall camp with somebody else? Like, that kind of seems like the last chance you have to learn a playbook and a roster, even though as juncated as it would be, you can't really, you kind of put yourself in a pretty deep hole if you try to leave at like week one or the week before week one. Who's going to take you? Well,
I think somebody out there will take him because everybody's always looking for a quarterback, and he's a good one, and he can win you games. But like we've always said, I mean, I think it's been his overwhelming dream, and kind of a childhood type dream to be quarterback at LSU, and
especially after you get that taste of it.
Yeah, for sure, and play at a high level. He's playing well. Fall camp begins August 5th, and I believe that it'll smoke itself out.
How big of the gap do you think it is between the two? Like, enough to where Miles Brennan could essentially win the job, or Max Johnson could win the job in fall camp, or you believe it's too wide of a margin?
I don't think that it's gaping. You know what I mean? I don't think that it is. It's wide, but I do think that it's clear. I do think that you can tell who's better and who gives you a chance to win. Routinely, with more consistency. And again, I'm not banging on Miles Brennan. T-Bob told me, and I kind of like T-Bob's take to a degree, but I don't necessarily wholeheartedly buy in. I mean, he says that whoever wins the quarterback competition is not going to affect the win and loss record. Like, it doesn't matter if you've got Brennan or Johnson, that they're that close, as far as the skill goes, that whoever wins the job can do just about the same job. And I could see that, but my reason for Johnson winning the job is that he gives you more of a skill set than Brennan does, which, in my opinion, translates to having an opportunity to win more games or win more plays, right? Like, win just individual plays. He can keep plays alive. He can make things happen out there when compared to Miles Brennan. And I think that is the edge that is very clear to see, right? Like, that it's close. The competition is close. But if you watch the skills, it's clear that Johnson
checks one more box.
Is just he's the better competitor.
Athlete.
That's how I feel about it. I mean,
and when you see where college football and then even the NFL has gone, it's the ability to extend plays. Like, on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 8, it's the ability to get out the pocket and make something happen as opposed to staying on schedule.
Yeah, like we said, what Joe Brady said to us, a couple of years ago, everybody has to be a threat. Everybody has to be a threat. Everybody has to be accounted for. Everybody has to be game planned for. Everybody has to be a threat. I mean, everybody has to make a play. And I think that 14 can make just a few more plays than 15 when you look at LSU's roster this year. Thank you to everybody who was interacting this week. Thank you for everybody who stopped by here on this Friday. Petey Couhig and Nathan Velasquez, Austin Thomas, and Ben Mintz checking in on this weekend. Huge recruiting weekend for LSU football down here in South Louisiana as the Tigers will host Junior Day on their campus and at the facility. So a lot of these high-end guys, the Walker Howards, the Will Campbells, Jacoby Matthews, Quincy Wiggins, Shaz Preston, a lot of these guys, Trevante Citizen, from in and around the state of Louisiana will be on LSU's campus this weekend. So make sure you're keeping up with all of the social media. We'll be posting stuff and making sure that things are out there to give you an idea of what's happening down here in South Baton Rouge for a big recruiting weekend. For the crew, Jack is out this morning, but Lloyd, Noah, and Katie, we will be back with you on Monday morning recapping what was going on and looking forward to fall camp and the New Orleans Saints training camp, the Mike Thomas situation.
Unbelievable.
Bro, what's up, man?
Scottie Pippen did.
What's up?
I'm going to take my summer.
I mean, how? You got the money, though.
I think.
I mean, I thought a lot of the respect thing was about the money and you make him the highest paid receiver in the league, and he waits 6 weeks.
Sean Payton said they were very clear about what they were going to do with, like, in terms
That's
of.
why I love Payton.
Yeah, he's like,
That
there was
really is why I love
no
Payton.
lack of communication, is what he said. And so it sounds like they were both very staunch on what they wanted to do on each side. I wonder if it goes into Michael Thomas playing injured and knowing he was hurt, and they probably wanted him out there to make this playoff push. But he made it seem like that was his decision. So I wonder if him, like, going out there and playing hurt said, well, look, I'm going to take my time to recover then and enjoy, whatever offseason I have.
There's a breakdown somewhere. There's a breakdown somewhere between Thomas and the organization that never seemed like it existed before last year. And after you got paid, I thought Thomas was kind of the outlier.
Guy. Yeah.
I mean, he set all the records the year after he got paid. I mean, his record-breaking season was after he got the contract, and that was kind of the outlying situation when you looked at big money guys, especially at that position, at wide receiver. I mean, he's making quarterback money. And
it's just it was a strange time for all this to happen. It seems like he was so simpatico with what the organization wanted to do, and he revered Drew Brees. Like, you could tell that they had a special relationship. So it's all just very odd at this timing, and especially when it might be one of the worst blows the Saints could take right now with Marshawn Lattimore out. You talked about defensive Animata being out, and then you don't really know the quarterback situation. It would be nice to be able to have Jameis and Taysom work with Michael Thomas. It'd be nice to build that rapport up. Because if it's Drew, you don't worry about it. They're going to click as soon as they're out there. But, I mean, it's just strange. It would be nice to have Michael Thomas out there. Seems like we haven't had him in 2 years.
A lot of weird storylines around the Saints. Just a lot of weird things kind of circulating at one time. I mean, usually one of these things is an issue. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you expect something in the offseason to pop up. I mean, David Onyemata missing 6 games due to a PED test that he failed, or Marshawn Lattimore dealing with some stuff in a contract season. You got a quarterback turnover that you're looking at competition. But then your star wide receiver that's paid as the star wide receiver and dealt with some health issues. You didn't expect this to be a storyline going into training camp, and now he could potentially miss the first month of the season. And it's not as much as the games as the everyday rep with whoever the quarterback is going to be that's going to set you back. I mean, you can almost take this season right now and wash it for Mike Thomas.
That's what it kind of feels like.
I mean, it really does. I mean, it feels
6
like
weeks?
you can to get anything from him would almost be gravy at the time that he came back, because you don't expect him. I mean, of 6 weeks of rehab and surgery to step back in there with a new quarterback to be anywhere close to on the same page with chemistry-wise and have to battle through to get back from a physical standpoint. You take one of the best players in the game and you totally set him back a season. It's what it feels like today.
And it becomes the Saints now have an issue at wide receiver. It becomes a position of need almost. You need to sign a guy because
all the drafts that we wouldn't pick a receiver have come back to bite us. We always put off drafting a wide receiver because our core was decent. Well, now Michael Thomas isn't there,
and it makes you realize how thin it kind of looks.
Traquan Smith, love him. He's not a number one receiver.
Not a one. He's not even a 2.
And so it's just some of those drafts have
they're
come
thin,
back.
brother.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, we didn't get a receiver in this past draft until I think like round 7. And so
Marcus Colston.
And yeah, so I mean,
call him.
All right, have a great weekend. We'll be back with you Monday morning, 7 a.m. Make sure and check out Go Chevrolet online at GEAUXChevrolet.com.
Wait, do you think this is like Drew Brees leaves, so it's kind of like a substitute teacher where your teacher's finally gone and you're like, we're going to run around a little bit, roll the TV in, like we're going to recess, you know how kids act? Because Drew Brees had such a stranglehold on the culture of that franchise. I wonder if they're kind of looking around like, all right, Sean Payton's in his office. There's nobody telling us to go throw, go do anything. Like, we're out of here. Like, I can't get in trouble.
Maybe so. I mean, maybe the accountability was to Breeze, not as much as the organization. And, I mean, that goes into good leadership. I mean, I'd imagine that a lot of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers probably wouldn't show up for off-season training activities the year after a Super Bowl. But if Tom Brady's telling you to be there, they're going to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't get cut by Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians was telling you, you may not be as passionate as you would be if Tom Brady's telling you to meet you at a certain place at a certain time and to be there. I mean, I'd imagine that Breeze had that same type of effect on the New Orleans Saints. I mean, that Aaron Rodgers press conference, start to finish, 32 minutes of it is fascinating.
Riveting.
It's fascinating. I mean, it is must-watch television,
I like
in
him
my
a lot.
opinion. And I love him after that.
I do too. It
He
makes me like
smoked
him
out the
even
entire
more.
franchise.
He absolutely did. And he did it with
That was
just
great.
I
Great
mean,
move.
Clarity and grace.
absolutely.
Like, he knew exactly what he was going to say
Never
the entire
stuttered.
time. No.
Looked up the entire time, never
Yeah.
felt intimidated, never had, never was.
It was drawn.
Nothing was off. Nothing was off limits. I mean, if I was a GM, if I was a front office guy, if I was like John Lynch, something like, I would be like, get me that guy.
New Orleans.
Right.
He would be perfect to ride it because that's all he wants. He just wants people to put players around him and a coach that has a scheme.
That would be crazy.
And to put Sean Payton and Aaron Rodgers together, they would love each other. I feel like they'd be on the exact same wavelength.
I mean, he's
And
probably got 4 years
I was
left.
about to say the game,
Yeah.
the way
5
they
years
look at
left,
age
man.
has changed.
I mean, the way that New Orleans has invested in the offensive line, and they've always put a premium on keeping the quarterback off of the ground. I mean, just don't get him hit. Let him stand back there in a scheme that makes a ton of sense that he has input on. I mean,
Brother, we'll pull up a chair in the front office if you want a seat. Like, it's going to be the exact opposite of what the Packers did when they locked the door.
maybe
Like,
the Saints, maybe something behind closed. Maybe they go through this
Jameis's
training
only 1
camp
year
and
deal.
see, what they really have it. Because it does. You know what it feels like with the Saints is that it feels like for as much as they've seen from Jameis and Taysom, that Peyton and Cruz still don't know what they have.
You won't know until they play. That's a game. Like, you'll. I mean, Jameis is the more skilled version of the two in terms of throwing the football, but I'm sure he looks great first air. That's not his problem. His problem is when you put 11 guys on the other side of it. He tends to pick that team. So that's the big. You won't know until you play. You could go in 4 weeks and then he could have 12 interceptions and 2 touchdowns, or 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Like, he's just going to chunk it around. And I'm sure they would be much more interested in seeing this play out, Aaron Rodgers play out. They know he's a free agent next year.
Right.
And then it makes the decision very easy.
Interesting.
We'll talk to you Monday morning. Enjoy your weekend. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
We done this time?
Yeah.
For real. Bye for real.
Bye for real.